Hello, we are Team 3 and this is the final presentation of our capstone project SNA for Slack, that is Social Network Analysis and Visualization for Slack Teams for SCR518 Software Factory 2. SNA for Slack is a web application that leverages the social network built on top of Slack communication platform to help a user analyze team dynamics and gain greater understanding of the network through visualizations. The key requirements include a mention-based network in which there are direct edges and represent mentions to call attention of a team member, a subscription-based network with edges between all the team members who subscribe the same public channel, visualizations to show network graphs, allowing the user to set filters for pruning the graph, metrics for social network analysis to assess the overall structure, centrality metrics, and metrics to assess the level of clustering within a network. This includes 4 major deliverables that are data acquisition and infrastructure buildup, application development, system integration testing, validation and delivery, data analytics that includes enhancements planning, server-side improvements to support robust data analytics, and client-side improvements. You can see the project milestones on the screen with the projected end date, a semester timeline, and the mapping deliverable phase, which was successfully met.
Coming down to the system architecture, SNA for Slack consists of multiple components which are distributed in cloud and outside the cloud. So to begin with, we have a Python crawler. The reason why we need to create a Python crawler is because the raw data that we required for this application was not available readily for us. So we created the Python crawler, which would extract the required data from publicly available Slack archive channels. All of this scraped data is dumped onto a CSV store, which is then flushed into a Cassandra cluster, which is hosted on Google Cloud Platform. Once we have all the information ready for the processing, the Network X is a graph generation component in our application, which makes HTTP requests to the Cassandra cluster and creates mention and subscription-based graphs and stores them into the MongoDB, which is also present on MLab. Apache Spark is a small Spark cluster which is created on top of the Cassandra database. It enables us to perform more rigorous queries that Cassandra does not allow us to. And the result of these Spark queries are also stored on the Mongo database. When user makes a query, the front end makes HTTP requests to the Mongo database, which is then provides the required information and is displayed on the front end.
Now let's go into a demo of our application, that is SNA for Slack. You select a team from the drop-down. Supposedly we'll select Zipper Global, and whenever you click on Let's Get Started, it takes you to the landing page for our application, that is the dashboard. It contains information like number of members, number of conversations, number of channels, and number of mentions. Next component is an activity timeline. This graph shows the complete time span of the data available for this team. Each bar represents the volume of messages arranged across several months. The user can hover to see the actual numbers. The next component is the team superstar that shows the team superstars for this team. Based on the number of times a user is mentioned by another user using the @ symbol and hence generating the popularity. The next graph shows a percentage distribution of the different web URLs that are shared within the team. Towards the right, you can see the top emojis and reactions graph that shows the percentage distribution of the different emojis shared within the team. We'll hop on to the next page, that is the teams page. This page contains 2 graphs. The first graph shows a network of user mentions. The edges represent the mentions, whereas the nodes represent the users. We can prune through the graph by clicking or hovering the mouse. As you see, it shows the degree, the betweenness, and the closeness. The mention direction may be toggled using the top drop-down button. It can be either directed or undirected. The edge threshold slider controls the visibility of each edge based on their weight. And we can also search for a user using the search box and clicking on the search button. Next component is an activity-based channel subscription. This graph shows a many-to-many relationship between the channels and the members of the team. The bars on the left-hand side represent the channels, whereas the bars on the right hand side represent the members. The percentage activities of each member across all the channels may be tracked from this graph by hovering over the individual channels on the left hand side or the individual users on the right hand side of the graph. Next, we go on to the channels page. This page contains information about the channels, including all the channels as a whole. This component is the channel creation date, which includes the date of creation of each channel from the team. The next is a member count of the number of members in each channel and the message count for the number of messages in each channel. Then there are some channel specific stats like the total number of messages, the average number of messages per channel, the maximum number of messages, the least number of messages in a channel, the total number of channels, total number of URLs, and the total number of emoticons for all the channels. Next is a channel member list, which contains a list of all the members in the specific channel. Next is a message chart that shows the number of messages in terms of percentage distribution for each channel in the form of a pie chart. The next is a member chart, which is again a pie chart that shows the number of members that are there in each channel in terms of a percentage distribution. And the last component again is a relevant Team Superstar component. You can select a specific channel and see stats about it, and it takes you to another page which has channel specific stats like the total number of messages in the channel, the total number of members in that channel. It also shows you the number of messages per user for that channel. It shows the number of mentions that are there per user for that channel and shows the total number of messages, the maximum number of messages by user, and the least number of messages. It also shows the most active member, the least active member, and the most number of mentions. Now we'll go on to the members page that contains information about all the members as a whole. It contains the total number of messages by all the members, the total number of members, the total emoticons, and the total URLs. The next component is a member message bar graph that shows the number of messages by each member displayed in the form of bar graph. The next graph is for the most active R that shows the most active R in terms of bar graph for all the members. You can see more about it by hovering over any of the bars. The next table shows whenever the first message was sent by a specific member in the team. The next component is the last active table, which shows the total number, the last active date for any specific member in the team, and this is in the form of a table. And the last is the total number of messages per year by all the members as a whole. This component is for the individual member view, where you can select a specific member and go and see more details about it. Let's select Karsten from here. So it shows you the Slack name for that specific member, the total number of channels that the member is a part of, the total number of mentions, and it shows the best friend, the second best friend, and the third best friend for that specific member based upon the number of conversations. And it also shows the date when the member joined the team, as well as the last active date, that is the last message. Also, there are messages per channel per member, and there's a pie chart to show the same, which can be highlighted and seen. Also, we have included help, which shows more details about any specific component, which can be opened up by clicking the help button. And that's pretty much about the project. And SNA for Slack as a culminating experience has been a great avenue for all the 6 members to apply the knowledge gained within 2 years of our master's degree. And we hope to carry forward this knowledge with us in the future. Thank you.